The sound of crystal glasses clinking was supposed to feel like celebration. Instead, it felt like glass cracking under pressure. "Here's to new rules," Rachel said, her voice lilting, confident, almost playful. "To freedom, honesty, and shared adventures." Her friends burst into laughter. Wind sloshed. Someone whistled. And all I could hear was that word, freedom. It slid under my skin like a shard of ice. I sat beside her at the long, candlelit table, my hand still hovering near my untouched glass. The scent of roasted lamb and rosemary filled the air, but my stomach tightened. My wife, was raising a toast about new rules to her friends, not to me. I turned to her. Her eyes met mine for a split second, then darted away, landing on someone else. "Jason." He smiled too easily. The kind of smile that hides familiarity. I'd met Jason before. One of Rachel's creative friends. A photographer who claimed to see truth through lenses. He'd been around more often lately, always dropping by to discuss a project. I told myself not to overthink it. We'd been married 8 years. People evolve, I told myself. They need space. They need friends. But watching her now, cheeks flushed, fingers tracing the stem of her glass as Jason whispered something that made her giggle, I realized I'd been lying to myself. After dinner, laughter spilled into the living room like a current I couldn't stand against. Music played softly. Someone lit a cigarette by the balcony. The smell of smoke mingled with jasmine perfume, Rachel's. She stood by the sliding doors, half lit by the city glow, talking to Jason again. Their bodies leaned too close, a magnetic pull neither tried to hide. I caught fragments of their words. "Not like before," she said softly. Jason's voice dropped lower. "So he agreed." Rachel hesitated. "Not yet. But he will." My pulse hammered. The room seemed to blur at the edges. I took a slow breath and walked toward them. "Everything all right?" I asked, my tone even. Controlled. Rachel turned, startled, then smiled too quickly. "Of course, love. We were just talking about boundaries," I said, finishing for her. Jason's eyes flickered. He set down his drink. "Actually, we were." "I wasn't talking to you," I said quietly. The room went silent. Someone turned off the music, sensing tension. Rachel's friends exchanged nervous glances. She sighed. "Ethan, please. Not tonight." "Tonight seems perfect," I said, stepping closer. "After all, you're making toasts about our marriage in front of your friends. Let's make it official." Her face paled. "You're making a scene." I smiled faintly. "No. I'm making a point." The truth had been gnawing at me for weeks. The late-night texts, the sudden yoga retreats, the creative projects that lasted past midnight. I checked her phone once, just once, and found messages that began with art talk and ended with "I miss you." But I hadn't confronted her. Not yet. I wanted her to be honest first. I wanted to believe she still respected me enough to tell me. Now, watching her swallow hard, I knew she wouldn't have. "Rachel," I said softly so only she could hear, "does freedom mean him?" She didn't answer. Her throat moved as she tried to find words, but none came. The silence spoke louder than anything she could have said. I looked around the room, her friends, our anniversary dinner, the expensive wine, the perfect facade. And then I laughed. It wasn't bitter. It was hollow. "You want new rules," I said louder this time. "Fine. I'll start." Jason shifted uncomfortably. Rachel's eyes filled with panic. I pulled a folded paper from my jacket and placed it on the table beside her glass. It was creased, worn, and signed. "Our marriage counselor suggested we write down what we really want," I said. I did. "You never read mine." Rachel stared at the paper as if it were a bomb. "Ethan, don't." But I did. I read aloud, voice steady, cutting through the silence like a blade. "I want honesty, even if it hurts. I want loyalty, even if it's hard. But if I can't have both, I'd rather have freedom too. Freedom from lies." The last words hung heavy in the air. I turned to Jason. "You're welcome to her new rules." Just know they come with no house, no stability, no promises. Those were mine. He opened his mouth, but no sound came. Rachel's face crumpled, the confidence drained from her. You can't just. I already did, I said quietly. The papers are signed. I just hadn't told you yet. Tonight felt fitting. The room was still. Even the city noise outside seemed to fade. Rachel looked at me, eyes wet, mascara smudging slightly. Ethan, please. I didn't mean. Yes, you did, I interrupted. You meant every word. You've just never said them out loud before tonight. Her lips trembled. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I nodded slowly. Neither was our marriage. I picked up my coat, sliding it over my shoulders. My hands no longer shook. I'd imagined this moment 100 times. Rage, shouting, tears. But instead I felt something simpler. Release. Before walking out, I turned once more. Congratulations, Rachel. You finally got your freedom. Just not the kind you expected. Outside, the night air was cold and clear. I could still hear laughter echoing faintly behind me, though I knew it wasn't joy. It was shock, disbelief, the kind of sound people make when they don't know what else to do. I looked up at the sky. Dark, endless, strangely calm. 8 years of marriage had ended in a toast. And somehow it felt poetic. Because in her quest for new rules, Rachel had forgotten the oldest one of all. Love can forgive mistakes, but not deceit disguised as liberation. I walked away, no longer her husband, just a man who'd finally chosen truth over comfort. And for the first time in years I felt free too.